Ever wonder how all the streamers on RP servers like NoPixel do certain gestures, certain animations, certain poses? Knowing how to use emotes like these is extremely beneficial in RP because it allows you to communicate how your character is feeling at any given situation or help to convincingly convey certain scenarios. The more animated you are, the more convincing you'll be at bringing your character to life. Whether it's reacting to something or trying to paint the picture for a scene, performing actions like these can help with whatever story you're trying to tell. Hey guys, it's Desh, and today we're going to cover emotes, shared emotes, prop emotes, commands, the HUD, how-tos, and more. First off, if you haven't already, be sure to note your default keybinds by hitting escape and check under settings, keybinds. Take a quick glance so you know how to walk, sprint, jump, crouch, or enter a vehicle. I play on a mouse and keyboard, so for me it's pretty standard WASD for move, space to jump, shift for sprint, and C for crouch. Keep in mind, yours may be slightly different by default, so make sure to make any necessary adjustments to something that you're more familiar or more comfortable with. If you play on console, be sure to check under settings, gamepad to see your controls. By the way, I have a video covering all the in-game settings I highly recommend adjusting specifically for GTA RP, so if you'd like to check that out, I've linked it in the description below. Next, the delete key can stop any animation abruptly, such as hacking a register, in case you're in the middle of something when a cop pops into the store. Next, we'll click on cars, bikes, and boats. Here, you'll see driving is basically the same as walking, WASD, and you can likely honk your horn with E. Next, click on 5M. Here you can see you can have up to 5 items on your hotbar, or as we'd say in character, your belts or your pockets. Depending on which number you press, it'll bring up the item you have slotted. For example, if I press I to go into my inventory, it will show what I have on my hotbar. I have my bat in slot 1, so if I press 1, out pops the sill.
My wife will pay.
Who the fuck is that?
You, Mrs.
Fuck that shit, Santa! Mouse control is something you may need to turn on in order to do certain functions, such as retrieving items from a counter or taking a selfie with your phone. Keep in mind this is a feature you might need to enable, and it will likely be found in your phone settings. In your chat box, you could type out commands, emotes, and even text RP. And note that some commands you can do simply by typing something like /mask to take off or put on your mask. By the way, if you're brand new to GTA RP, I have a complete beginner guide where I cover absolutely everything you need to know to get started. You can find a link in the description below. As you can imagine, there are a massive amount of emotes you can use in GTA RP that can really make a scene seem so much more believable the more accurate they are. Note that on some servers, you can access your emote lists along with your shared emotes and prop emotes, likely in your character menu as well. Emotes can be anything from sit to dance to chicken. The more familiar you are with emotes, the more you can have fun RPing out different situations and create an immersive experience for you and everyone you interact with. You can also hotkey emotes you use often. On the server I play on, TRP for example, I would do this by typing /ebind flip off in the chat box. Again, the bind command may vary depending on your server, but now whenever I click my hotkey for my keybind, which in this case is F7, my character will flip someone off. Now for shared emotes. Some emotes can be shared and performed at the same time, like a hug for example.
All right, so all 3 of us, we're going to do 3-person hug at the same time. Just like how you guys just did. We're going to attempt 3, 2, 1. Oh, you
Poor Santa. Oh, man. In your player menu, you should be able to request, say, a high five from another player. Prop emotes can also be a lot of fun. If your character is like mine and obsessed with coffee, you might be able to type something like /coffee in your text box to always have one in your character's hand. Or say you're at a club or want to show off some dance moves. Maybe you want to do something like /glowstick to bust out some color-changing glow sticks. In certain situations, you may want to use text RP to communicate without breaking character. You could do this with text RP. Text RP shouldn't be overused, but sometimes it's the best way to convey necessary information. In certain situations, it can even add to the RP experience, if of course the situation makes sense. T will likely open your chat box, and this is where you'll type emotes like /E for sleep, /E for dance, /E for coffee, or text RP like /me picks up horns. Again, every server is different, so it might vary slightly on what exactly you type, but you get the concept. Depending on what type of character you're playing, a cop or EMS, for example, might have additional emotes they can use, such as swab for evidence, revive, or even cuff. Scenes can also be a really fun way to relay information in roleplay.
She slipped.
Oh.
Come on now.
What? Oh, I'll take it off.
So many people seeing that kind of language in front of
the bacon burger.
Wait, it said so, Pastor.
Yeah, you know, it's the implication.
All right, I'll get rid of it. Scenes can also be used to relay information. Say you rob a store and want to leave a piece of evidence behind for the cops to find. In your text box, you would type something like /scene, strand of wavy teal hair, and place it on the ground of the crime scene. You can also choose the color of the scene. Say you're driving and someone cuts you off or steals your parking spot. You can leave a nasty note on their car by doing /scene, red, fuck you, and placing it on their windshield. You can also delete scenes by radius by doing something like /scene delete 1, /scene delete 2, or something along these lines to delete nearby scenes. Note that on your map, or perhaps in character, you may hear it referred to as your GPS, you'll find several icons on the right sorted alphabetically to help you navigate around Los Santos. Know your apartment if you have one, nearby garages so you can access your vehicle, and other points of interest. Note that typically you'll know if a business is open if their icon appears on the map. You can also click anywhere on the map and ping a destination, which will show up on your mini-map when inside a vehicle or on a bike. You can also share your GPS coordinates to a friend via text by using your phone. The keybind to bring up your phone will vary per server, but be sure to get familiar with whatever it is on the server you play on because you're likely going to be using it a lot. In your phone, you can access apps like Twitter and the dark web, as well as add contacts, access your bank account, or even share GPS coordinates and photos via text. Twitter, for example, can be used to promote city events or your business, or it's a place where you can inquire about vehicles being sold or even post photos of you and your friends. So we left our trash in the middle of the street over here.
Hey, can you not take a picture, please?
Oh, don't share that. I just got scolded.
Yes!
With most servers, you can even create animated GIFs and upload them to Imager so you can share them in-game. For some servers, you may have to go to your phone settings and turn on mouse control to do certain actions like this, or to take photos with your phone. You should also have both PD and EMS on speed dial if you ever need to report a crime or in a case of emergency. Again, most of this can be learned through RP itself, so if this seems like a lot, don't stress, because I promise you, while you're on a server interacting with other people, it'll all start to make sense. When it comes to vehicles, every server is different as well. Some will give you a starter vehicle right at the start, while others may require you to take a driving test and pass it before you can even buy one. Fog you, fire hydrant! Fog you! Accessing your vehicles can vary by server as well. On the server I play on, Twitch RP, I can access my vehicle at any parking garage. By opening my player menu, I can retrieve or store my vehicles. And a quick tip, be sure to unlock your vehicle before getting inside. And always lock it when not using it so no one can steal it or so it doesn't end up in the impound. Trust me, it happens. Keybinds may vary per server as well, but you could also do things like honk your horn, fasten your seatbelt, or open the trunk to store items, or hop in for a quick ride when there aren't enough seats. Vehicles can be upgraded, customized, and repaired when damaged, either by a mechanic, with repair kit, or at a mech hub. When in a vehicle, you'll see the gas gauge, usually at the bottom left. Keep an eye on this, because when it's out, it's out. Your car will eventually not be able to move, and you're likely to end up stranded. You could fill your tank at a gas station or by purchasing a jerry can to use later or in dire circumstances. Say your vehicle runs out of gas and you have to book it to the nearest gas station on foot in order to refuel and get back on the road. When in a vehicle, it's always a good idea to buckle up. If your seatbelt isn't fastened and you happen to get into an accident, there's a good chance you could fly out, resulting in some serious injuries.
Hold on.
Hold on to something.
You'll notice when you're in a vehicle, a seatbelt icon should be in the bottom left, usually green when on and red when off. There's likely a keybind like B, for instance, that should toggle your belt on or off whenever you're in a vehicle or on a bike. On some servers, you'll be given an apartment when you first enter the server, while on others, you may have to purchase one with in-game money. Some even have pretty in-depth housing where you could decorate, rearrange furniture, and you could even give players a key so they can access your apartment whenever they need to, as long as they know the passcode. In most housing units, you can also change your clothes or appearance for free without having to visit a clothing store. As you probably guessed, some gangs, also referred to as families, are a popular component on most RP servers. But this doesn't mean that you're required to join one by any means. Simply join a gang if it makes sense for your character, and it's something you want to explore. Remember, gang rivalries can get pretty intense. Some gangs will shoot on sight if you cross their territory, while others may require you to dress in a specific color scheme. On some servers, gangs and businesses can actually submit custom logos or icons to appear on clothing, which is pretty cool. Now we'll cover the UI, HUD, and player menus, as well as other essentials you'll absolutely want to know before jumping straight into RP. As I've mentioned, the UI or menu systems may look slightly different, but this will still give you an idea of how they work. Note your status icons that will likely be located in the bottom left of your screen. Hunger may be a burger or maybe a knife and fork, but the icon should be pretty self-explanatory. Look for an icon that looks like a microphone where you can toggle between whispering, normal speaking, and shouting. On my server, the default hotkey for this is Z, but yours may be different. The microphone changes color, whisper or white, normal or green, and yelling or red. In general, you want to stay in the green, but there will be times when you want to use your whisper voice or you want to be yelling. A good tip is to cycle through all the options when you first log on before resting it on normal. Some may refer to this in character as warming up your vocal cords in the morning. In some situations, you may want to yell if you're trying to talk to someone far away or in another room, and you may want to whisper whenever you're in a vehicle or discussing criminal activity, say, plotting a bank robbery, for instance. Health is something every player must be conscious of. Different circumstances may cause different injuries, and the severity of those injuries may vary. But be aware, if your health becomes low enough, you will be downed and will need EMS to come revive you. On some servers, serious injuries can actually cause effects in game, such as blurry vision or slowed movement. Yes, you can die in game from lack of food or water. Make sure to stay hydrated and eat whenever you need to, and note that some foods are more filling than others. Not every player will wear armor, but sometimes cops may, depending on certain situations. Some servers will also have stress and oxygen levels you could choose to show when relevant, like when you're swimming underwater. Note that swimming is likely the exact opposite of walking. Think WASD in reverse, where you use S to swim upwards and W to swim downwards. I touched on gas and your seatbelt earlier when we discussed vehicles, but notice these icons will also appear near the other icons on your status bar, as will your minimap, which may only appear when you're inside a vehicle or on a bike. Your minimap is most handy when following a pinged destination. Now we'll go over the player menu. On my server, the keybind to bring up this menu is G, so some players may refer to it as your G phone when speaking in character. Here you should have access to everything from your inventory, to your vehicle, to character interactions, and more. Interactions may include paying a bill, billing another player, while you can also access different clothing accessories such as a hat, sunglasses, or a mask. Once again, most servers will highly encourage you to learn everything through RP itself, and I want to encourage that as well. You learn a ton just by being on the server and interacting with other RPers, and I wouldn't want to rob you of that experience, but what I will do is share some basic general info on some key categories just to help get you started. You can access your inventory through the player menu or with a hotkey such as I, which is mine by default. Here you can store, stack, or use items, and you can even drop items on the ground or give them to other players. Try right-clicking an item to see your options. Note that if you can't receive items from another player, you may be full on inventory slots or over-encumbered, or perhaps your pockets are just scuffed. But hopefully not. Each server will have a variety of jobs you can choose from, and if you want, you can even choose to be unemployed. Job may include state jobs like a taxi driver or delivery, or player-run businesses such as car dealer, mechanic, or realtor. You can even do things like sell weed to locals for some quick cash. Some jobs such as state trooper or EMS, or emergency medical services, or lawyer can be whitelisted and will require you to apply in character and possibly even have an interview for the position. You can apply for these at the DOJ or the Department of Justice. Note that some of these jobs may take quite a bit of time invested on your part. Being knowledgeable about what you do may not only help you get hired, but will only further your RP potential and gain you respect in the community amongst your fellow RPers. For example, if you want to become a lawyer, it's probably a good idea to have some basic knowledge when it comes to the law and how court cases work, terminology, etc. As for hobbies, there are a ton of activities you can do with large groups such as fishing, go-kart racing, jet skiing, and more. Note that some hobbies will require you to use an item in your inventory or rent before use, while some can be done by shortcut, for example, /fish, to bring out a fishing pole. Most items for hobbies or crime can be found at supply stores. Some servers even have bowling alleys or casinos where you can gamble, with in-game money, of course. Another common minigame you might see a lot in-game is dice roll or death roll. This can be used in bets or events, or in-game giveaways, say if a car dealership is giving away a vehicle. All right, I got 74. Teacher.
No, it's good to get the lower numbers.
Damn it! As for money, you can earn paychecks by doing your job, or get cash from selling items to other players, or even locals, or by doing criminal or illegal activities. Money can also be traded with other players. Some UI will show your money, job status, and other info on the screen. On other servers, you may have to check in your wallet. You can also access your money in your bank account by going to a bank or visiting an ATM and using your debit card. By the way, if you're ever missing your debit card, you should be able to pick up a new one at the bank. Criminal activities, also known as heists, can include robbing stores or running illegal business operations. For these type of activities, some places you may want to visit are the ammunition shop for weapons and ammo, or the supply shop for crowbars or lockpicks, or perhaps the digital den or a radio or walkie-talkie. You could create or join a heist or squad group in your player menu by selecting crime, heist, then create or join, and create or enter the password. In a heist, you will typically only be allowed a max of 4 players, or maybe 6 for larger groups. This is usually to keep the server balanced, and to ensure police or EMS do not become overwhelmed. If you tend to run with the same group often, it may be a good idea for each player to focus on a different skill, to ensure each has a specific job, such as lockpicking, using a crowbar or lockpicks, hacking, using a datapad, plundering, a bank safe minigame, or hustling, or laundering money. Technically, the hustler doesn't have to be at the heist itself, but you will need to have the necessary skills in order to launder your money after a successful heist. Note that both a hacker and lockpicker can tamper with the register, and this can also be done solo without a heist. Remember, in RP, your actions have consequences. If you get caught breaking the law, know that you may likely be arrested, or fined, or even sent to prison. It may vary per server, but as far as prison time, minutes will usually equate to months. For example, if you get sentenced to 5 months in prison, this would equal 5 minutes. 1 year would most likely equal 1 day, etc. Now we'll touch on skills. Many activities or even jobs will require you to have a certain skill level in that particular area. In your character menu, click on Profession, then Skills. Here you could see how leveled you are in a certain skill set. To level a specific skill, be sure to practice something relating to that skill set. For example, hacking falls under science. To level this skill set, practice hacking. Or lockpicking, try using a crowbar and /pry at a cash register, or use a lockpick to break into a vehicle and try to hotwire it. You could refer to your skill level in character by saying something like, "So far, I've read 1 book on hacking, and I'm on the 2nd page of my next book." This could relay that you are level 1 in hacking and have 2 experience towards your next level. Once again, I've got a whole website with a ton of GTA RP guides, including mistakes to avoid as a new player, and a list of things I highly recommend doing on your very first day, along with in-game settings and keybinds and more. And if you're brand new to GTA RP, don't forget to check out my complete beginner's guide, where I cover everything you need to know to help get you started in GTA Roleplay. You can find all these links in the description below, along with the link to my Twitch stream, where you can catch me RP live as Dr. DESHRESPECT over at twitch.tv/deshplease. If you found this video helpful, please like and share with others new to RP. And if you have any additional questions, or maybe I missed something, or if there's something you'd like me to cover in my next video, leave a comment below. I do try to respond to every single one. A special shout out to my patrons for supporting the channel. And if you'd like to support as well, you can find a link to my Patreon in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys!